Hello and welcome to Game Warp. I'm your host, Elwood Jones, the guy with a British accent, and joining me as always is my friend and co-host, our Canadian ass kicker herself, Kim Lowe.
Hello.
I'm good, and today we're obviously looking ahead to 2017 and our game releases, and we're joined today by a very special guest today. We're joined by YouTube, how can we say, YouTube broadcaster? The definition seems to keep changing. YouTuber.
Well, yeah, I'm not quite sure. Content creator is another one that I hear. But yeah, okay. I make videos on the internet.
Well, so obviously tonight we're looking ahead to 2017. This year started off looking so well when we were at E3 2016, and it seemed like we had masses of games and we had all this. We would like just this conundrum of where we were going to find the time to play anything. And as we've obviously got into 2017, things have been cancelled, things have been delayed, we've got things being knocked onto 2018, so the list has been considerably knocked down. But just looking at what we've had released already, we've had some pretty big hits out already. We've obviously had the release of Halo Wars, we've had Steep, and Rise and Shine. I mean,
the internet has been flooded with Resident Evil 7 videos, so...
That was a good one. That was a big one.
Yeah, so I mean, what's been holding your attention then?
Currently, I'm playing Neo, which is another really big release that I was looking forward to, from the Team Ninja guys who did Ninja Gaidens and all those volleyball games back in the day. But yeah, Neo's a pretty good samurai themed Dark Souls kind of game with Diablo style loot, for those who don't know, and it's a good time. I'm having a stellar time with that.
Well, you both played Rise and Shine. What did you? I know what Elwood thought already, but what did you think?
I thought it was a pretty good time. Again, there are always things that I have problems with games, but I would say overall I did have a good time with it, even if a couple parts were pretty frustrating. But it was a good few hour romp for sure.
Yeah, it's I think this was really it was a real sort of throwback to like the likes of Metal Slug for myself. It was very nice and colourful. It's also frustrating as all hell, and now the reason my controller has a squeaky trigger on it, but it's sort of like I don't think I had to completely change my grip on my controller just to be able to click the trigger quick enough, because some of these sections you've got to really sort of like pound that trigger to get it to fire quick enough. And I think it wasn't going well when the first boss I encountered, I died about 5 or 6 times. This is on the first thing you encounter in the game, so it kind of didn't bode well for the rest of that stream. And I think for the most part when we did stream it, I think we streamed on launch day, and most of it was just a lot of me dying. And I think we went about 2 hours, and it got to the point where we just had to turn the mic off because it was just a bit profanity laden, that whole commentary. So
there was a couple of points for myself as well where I was dying repeatedly at a certain part that's towards the end.
Once you get in the groove of it, then you're fine. It's the same as if you like playing Ninja Gaiden or Dark Souls. Once you got your reflexes like locked in, you're pretty much good. You know, you can run, you can jump, you can shoot. You're all good.
A few confusing button switches for switching to the different bullet type and certain things that did feel a little forced on the controller. Like, it didn't really feel good to switch between a couple of those. It wasn't easy enough, I guess, which made some of those sections a little harder just because of the design of the controls.
But no, 2017 is really looking like the year for the PlayStation exclusives. I don't know what the Xbox have really been doing in terms of what they thought they were willing out with their exclusives. So it's kind of I I think this is the year where everyone's going to go out and buy a PlayStation, especially if Zero Rise of Dawn is as good as it actually looks. Certainly all the gameplay footage we've seen, all the sort of reports from the conventions have all been very positive. So hopefully they can to transfer it into a game which actually works, and we just won't end up with like another recode, which seemed to be like Xbox's answer to what Zero Rise of Dawn was doing, but it kind of failed. It seemed to be missing something, and especially disappointing, especially as that was coming from Rare of all people. So
I know Horizon did get reviews gone out today. I know GameSpot gave it a 9. There's some other high numbers going around, so looks good. Hopefully I like it as much as they did.
There seems to be all these theories bounding around as why Scalebound got cancelled. A lot of people felt that the combat we saw at Elite 3 was just too slow, that there wasn't enough pacing in the game, and the scale was just too big for the actual equipment to actually handle. So, I mean, Slay, is there anything in particular that you like in the Xbox exclusives, or you just strictly a PC gamer?
Well, I don't have an Xbox One, but since I do have Windows 10, I do have all access to Xbox exclusives because they're Windows exclusive games. Yeah. But as of yet, I have not really even looked at what their exclusives are. I mean, last year they had the Gears of War and something else in there. I think it was Halo Wars this year. Is that what the one is?
Halo Wars is this year. There's gonna be Cuphead, which still doesn't have a release date.
Right.
It was pushed from last year, and there's what is the other one? Sea of Thieves.
Sea of Thieves.
Yeah.
Sea of Thieves does look really cool. I mean, if it does what it says it does, I mean that's a company that I very much have enjoyed their games in the past. So that would be definitely one I would look at.
Oh yeah, Sea of Thieves, it's got a real nice sort of cartoonish edge to it.
I believe it was from Rare, right?
I'm not too sure offhand, but I know certainly it looked like one of those games, if you've got friends to play it with, like Left 4 Dead, then it's going to be a lot more fun than if you're just playing with randoms, because I can see it just being a lot of ego trips.
Controlling a ship and having all of your friends go like, get over there to the rigging, or things like that could be real fun.
Yeah, I mean, you can really get in the spirit of it and stuff. If you're dealing with just 3 random orcs on the multiplayer thing, it's just going to be like one guy saying, "Oh, I'm the captain. You're going to do what I say."
I'm out. I'm walking the plank.
But I mean, looking at obviously the big sort of the releases ahead, I think there's a lot of nice smaller releases also coming out as well. I think one game that I know personally I'm excited about, and what I bore Kim with at least for about 10-15 minutes at the start of every production meeting, and that's the release of Blood Bowl 2's Legendary Edition, which is due out around summertime. Anyone who follows our Twitch channel, Game Walk Podcast, will know that on Sundays mornings we do run at some ungodly hour in the morning the Blood Bowl 2 games. So it's really great that the Legendary Edition is coming out, which is going to not only give us an additional 8 new races, so it's going to boost the game up to a whopping 24 available races with the likes of Amazons, Goblins, Ogres, Halflings, and Underworld, as well as a new race Kislev, who also sport Dancing Bears amongst their players. We're also going to see some star players such as old favourites such as Bomber Dribblesnot and Fungus Deloon making appearances, as well as a lot of minor tweaks such as the ability to create merc teams and new cheerleader models being added. So if you're a fan of Blood Bowl 2, it's really great that we're getting this add-on, and you can either buy it as a race pack, or you can just buy it as a big old DLC, or if you want, you can just buy the game again and have it all on one disc, which is probably the handier option than messing around filling your hard drive up with DLC. So, but Slay, do you play Blood Bowl 2, or is it just sad people like myself that play this game?
Heard nothing but good things, and see many of my friends have it pop up in Steam every couple of days playing, but I've never pulled the trigger myself.
Yeah, it's well worth checking out.
Mm-hmm.
Kim.
Well, you're not gonna let me off the hook until I try it one day, right? So eventually in 2017, I'm gonna like cave and I'm gonna be like, okay, this is a good deal. I'm gonna buy it.
For anyone who's a fan of the actual tabletop game, it's a real nice adaptation of it, and the game looks absolutely stunning. And they've really, with each new addition to it, they've only sort of added to the game. There's not been anything taken away. They've not unbalanced the game by having a race that's particularly super powered or anything. So it's always nice to see more content being added. So, but Nintendo are obviously back this year. They've got their new console out, the Nintendo Switch. Is anyone excited for a new Nintendo console? I think by the time the shine of the Wii had obviously like wore off, I don't think anyone was particularly excited about Nintendo still. But there is obviously, it seems to be a lot of buzz surrounding the Switch, and just on the fact that you can take it with you. But I mean, is anyone actually excited for the Switch, or are we just all getting caught up in the hype?
I don't know. Somewhere along the line, they lost me in kind of being a little bit behind the times on, how powerful their engines were, or how long their consoles lasted, or how long it was in between having a first-party thing. Like you would get one, and then it would be a year before you'd get another. And I would play nothing else on it during the meantime because the other consoles had bigger, better, badder things. Yeah.
That it has these core sort of titles, these characters it has. Obviously, we've got with the new Nintendo Switch, we've obviously got the new Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wind coming out. We've got Super Mario Odyssey coming out. We've got Super Bomberman R coming out. So we're seeing a lot of classic characters getting new titles, and at the same time we get a lot of sort of party games like 1-2 Switch and World of Goo.
Hey, what are you making a World of Goo face for? No one can see this, but I can. World of Goo is a good game, okay? I've played it a little on my mobile, but I have it on PC and I am gonna play it. But I mean, it's a good game, and I think that I just don't understand why like I guess the deal with Nintendo is that they don't really have a lot of original content. A lot of it is sequels of something that's already done, and there's a lot of stuff like that, and they haven't really grown that much in, like, I don't know. I mean, I have a DS, and there are certain franchises I love, like Phoenix Wright I love, and I have, like, Professor Layton that I love, and when they combined the series and put it on 3DS, I got really angry, but I still like the idea of it, But, yeah. But, I mean, at this point, my biggest concern, not even if I didn't buy into the Nintendo Switch, is really, like, is it even possible to do that? Like, I mean, as in, like, what is your battery life? Like, a lot of people were, like, as I was talking to other people who are excited for it, they're like, well, I mean, I can bring my console literally everywhere. If I was playing Legend of Zelda, I could go to the bathroom with my console now and continue playing. There has to be no pause. And I'm like, I don't know if that's such a good thing, but I guess,
Yeah. Just don't tell me where you've had your console.
Mm-hmm. I just leveled up in the bathroom.
Yeah. But we're forking out a launch price here. We're paying $300 for a console that doesn't come with a memory card, and none of the games are able to support itself on its internal memory.
And in order to get like one of the controllers for it, it's another $70 to $80.
Yeah. And the problem is Nintendo's now become this console that it's gone from like being the hip console to now a console I associate with like old people and small children.
Yeah.
And I think the only reason a lot of people hang around is because they're like dedicated Mario fans. And when you look at the other consoles, I mean, even you go back, you had like the Mega Drive, which was like its leather jacket wearing counterpart, because Nintendo can't. And then we obviously had like the PlayStation, which was like for the raver kids, and the Xbox, which was basically trying to tempt over all the PC gamers. So while those consoles have obviously kept a more mature audience and they've really shown it in their games, Nintendo's kind of floundered around.
Yeah, at one point, Nintendo said that they wanted to go family friendly, and I mean, they didn't want to do any M-rated games, and they wanted things to be more party and get the family together type of thing. And I mean, yeah, there will always be teenagers, going through the generations, but your initial audience that made you popular have gotten older, and their tastes have gotten older, and if you want their business, you kind of got to keep up with that.
Okay, so moving on from Nintendo Switch. Moving on from Nintendo Switch, we are all underwhelmed, to say the least. So what else is on your list?
For me, I would have to say Pray for the Gods is another one that I'm very excited for. Being a fan of that Eco Shadow of the Colossus style game, Pray for the Gods appeals to me immensely. Seeing how one of those, or the Shadow of the Colossus, one of my favorite games of all time, and I also love snow zones. So you put those two things together, and I'm pretty much sold. It's
it looks a little. It looks like it looks a little maybe, I don't know, challenging. It does look a lot like Shadow of Colossus, and it's also, I remember hearing it because of Kickstarter. Pray for the Gods. I never really looked into it a lot further.
I think they did say that it's supposed to be like a spiritual successor to Shadows of the Colossus.
Yeah, I think that's how it gained its popularity in the first place.
I mean, PewDiePie played the demo, so it's got to be good.
I don't think he has the same reputation after.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely a high one on my list.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. I mean, obviously, you were saying about Shadow of Colossus there, and that thankfully got a re-release on the PlayStation 3, along with the first two God of War games, which was great because it meant you could stick it to traders who wanted to charge you about 30-40 quid for a disc. Yes, we know it's out of print, but it doesn't mean you can stifle us on the prices, my friend. So it's nice, obviously, going into 2017, we're seeing more releases coming out. Certainly when we had the PlayStation Experience, we got several titles being announced as being remastered, such as Parappa the Rapper is being remastered. We've got the Wipeout Omega collection. Most importantly, though, we've got the Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, which is really kind of welcome, and it's kind of funny that PlayStation for years banged on about never having a mascot, when Crash Bandicoot essentially has become that for PlayStation. So it's nice to actually see them re-embracing their fallen mascot again. But the one which makes me most excited is Bulletstorm, which has been remastered for its full clip edition, which will allow you to play as Duke Nukem. This is probably one of the most underrated first-person shooters out there. It's just so funny and violent, and the fact it includes trick shots, such as you kick a hot dog cart towards a group of enemies, blow it up, and it comes up with the words "sausage party" on the screen. We did do a full write-up on thatmomentin.com, so if you are interested in reading about the full game, then you can read it on there. But Bulletstorm's one you can currently pick up cheap for the Xbox 360 if you don't want to wait for this new edition to come out. But I'm really excited to see what they're obviously doing with this, and hopefully it leads to a much needed sequel, because Bulletstorm is one of those most underrated first-person shooters, and in these times where we're sort of swamped in crappy first-person shooters, it's nice to actually have a decent one, at least until they give us Doom Remake 2.
That Doom was pretty good.
I think it surprised a lot of people. A lot of people thought it was going to be naff, so it was good to be able to get back out there and shoot demons in the face with your boomstick and have the same sort of same satisfaction of the 90s again.
Yeah, I didn't get into Shadow Warrior either last year, but that was another kind of first-person shootery one that I heard was pretty good.
Kim, what's on your list next?
I think what remains on my list will probably be indie titles mostly, and there is one that I am interested in because I saw them at the Montreal Comic-Con. I didn't talk to them, but I saw the game, and it was Hollow Bunnies, but I think I don't know if this is their full game. I really don't think so. It's Hollow Bunnies Pose Cafe, and that's going to be released on March. It should be released. Okay, so Hollow Bunnies Pose Cafe is going to be this like 2-player brawler, and I think it should be released before its full game. a standalone DLC, as they call it. And the other one was What Remains of Edith Finch, which doesn't seem to have a whole lot, but it feels like it looks like a walking simulator, but with some sort of mystery suspense, which was really up my alley. So I know a lot of people don't really like this whole walking simulator and that it's, not very interactive. So I don't really know what other gameplay there is. I don't feel like there's been a lot said about this game.
Yeah,
Have you guys heard anything?
Heard of it? No.
Oh, really? Other than that, is there any other titles you guys have?
I have plenty, but Elwood wants to go. He can.
No, please.
We talked a teeny bit there about Nier Automata.
Automata, yeah.
There you go, Automata. And find out that it was a really good, platinum style combat. I am definitely sold for that one.
Yeah, for sure.
We kind of covered that one. So.
Yeah, the demo was fantastic for Nier Automata, and it really, I think what I liked even more than the open world was how they changed the angles so that at certain points you were doing the top-down shooter, and it really gave you a grasp of really see where all the enemies were instead of really having to navigate your camera in a time when you're all surrounded by the robots and whatever machines were around you. And I mean, on top of that, there are some colossal size machines, and it's done just so clever, and I really like the whole design and the whole area of it.
Plus, it's a platinum game because you can put swords and guns on your shoes and do combos. And let's see, I know Mass Effect Andromeda is coming out this year. It's another big title.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of the Mass Effect series, and I'll definitely be playing Mass Effect Andromeda.
March is a big month for you then.
yeah, and they're all open world games. But I would say my hype level for that one is kind of middling. I mean, it looks good. The new combat style is good, but I feel like I've seen Mass Effect before. But I am excited to have a new Mass Effect. I think it'll be a good time.
Do you think this is an opportunity really for the series to make up for Part 3? Obviously, the trilogy ended on kind of a bum note for a lot of people, so with Andromeda, it feels in many ways kind of like a reboot for the series for them to try again.
That's what they're saying. It's going to be a whole new crew, whole new place. They're off trying to find a new home world. Yeah, I mean, they smooth it out. They make it story its own. It could be really good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
in addition to
yeah, I was gonna say that. I was. Did you hear about the audition for the voice parts for Mass Effect?
I did not.
You did not? Yeah. Anyways, our whole team actually contributed to it on an unofficial level because we were in areas that didn't accept the recording. So we still put one out, but we were not able to submit it officially.
Aww.
No.
I would have tried to go for the female voice, but they probably wouldn't have accepted me.
Yeah,
How do you declare, Commander Shepard?
Yeah, Kim was playing the resident badass for that one, which was great.
In the ultimate fail way, right?
I would have been a Krogan, and I'd just been like Shepard, and just that's my whole line, Shepard. That's it. That's all I got. That's really the only thing I remember Rex ever saying in that series. So,
did you have a particular favorite team to go in with? I always like Rex.
Let's see. I'm trying to remember. I feel like I had a much more magic and long range sniper team with no tanks, but having magic shields. But yeah, I can't for the life of me. It's been way too long to remember what my teams were exactly. But I do know in Mass Effect, whichever, my whole team survived. The ending, I sent them to the right places. Oh, Mass Effect. Just bring back Mordin Solus, and we'll be fine. He was he was that funny scientist doctor.
Well, 2017 we got some big releases coming out. Obviously, we got the return of Mass Effect. We got Ghost Recon Wildlands coming out, which after the underwhelming demo we got at E3, I'm not sure if anyone's actually excited for it or not. But
yeah, but I mean, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Yeah, but I heard, like, I was listening to GameSpot do their review of it, and they were saying that, funnily, the single-player campaign is underwhelming, if I remember correctly. And
I don't know. Maybe if we could like convince Alicia to play for it, who handles their E3 conferences. I mean, that might make it fun.
Maybe if
that'd be recommendation.
Maybe if it wasn't, Ubisoft making their exact same formula of every one of their games, it might be a little better. Too soon, maybe.
But, I mean, we've also got Uncharted, which is back again with the Lost Legacy, despite number 4 apparently being the final one. Not sure what's direction they're going to go with the new game. We've got Red Dead Redemption 2 also coming out.
Yeah, that did get pushed to 2018, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's there's obviously some return of some of those big franchises.
God of War, big one that's coming back at the end of the year, holiday maybe.
Yeah.
God of War is definitely on my list.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, has that actually been confirmed now? Because certainly every time I check, it says that it's coming out, but no one wants to actually commit to a date, which is a little frustrating.
Yeah, I have seen that as well, but I saw somewhere that it said like holiday. But yeah, I mean, come on, it's a big title. It's going to get pushed to 2018 for sure. So I do have a couple more. I don't know how much time
go
we
ahead,
have.
Go ahead.
I can narrow it down really quickly or spam some. Below by Cappy. That's the people who did Sword and Sorcery. They have that musician Jim Guthrie that did their soundtracks and stuff. That's really been a popular release from the last couple of years. But Below is a kind of a dungeon crawling permadeath, brutal but fair, I guess you could call it, adventure game from the top down perspective. It's supposed to be able to have like a co-op mode for it too, but it looks like a really cute looking art style to it and style of gameplay that really appeals to me. I like roguelike style, randomly generated levels that it makes for, at least for YouTube perspective, it makes for a lot of episodes of content if it really catches on or grabs you. So that's what I'm looking forward to as well.
There's like a survival aspect to it, I guess, as well. Is it?
There's crafting and different things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But roguelike, permadeath, randomly procedurally generated levels. I mean, you've already got me signed up with just those taglines. So
yeah, definitely.
That's another one for sure. In the same vein, there's a game that I'm not sure I know how to pronounce, but it's EITR, and I want to say it's EITR. It's from, let's see, Enemy Entertainment. Devolver Digital is publishing it, but it's a very much based on the Dark Souls style of watching your stamina, RPG set in a Norse mythology world. Very, very Dark Souls inspired, but way old, like retro 8-bit, 16-bit, whichever graphic style. So it looks really impressive and very fluid from what I've seen of it. But that's definitely one that I am waiting for as well.
When is this one set to release?
I don't know.
Okay, moving on.
I can just click on the Steam page and see if it says anything. It doesn't say, but it was supposed to be this year. Death's Gambit. That's another big one that I've been looking forward to. That's a Metroidvania style game, I want to say. They've been talking about that one for a long time. It's been delayed, but hopefully it doesn't get delayed again. It'd be really nice.
We're starting to see an increase of them since really like Song of the Deep. We're seeing more of these games come out, and it's a nice counterbalance to obviously
the Verge,
current trend.
Was it Verge? I can't remember what it was. Something like that. That was a nice little throwback to retro Metroidvania games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's kind of a nice counter to all the walking simulators that are coming out, such as like Firewatch and Everybody's Gone to the Rapture, and
yeah,
it's nice having that sort of retro throwback while at the same time feeling that you're playing something a little modern. So,
when you mentioned Firewatch and the walking simulator type of game, and that leads me to like probably one of my last two on my list, but one of the highest on my list, which is Kona.
Kona!
I played Kona's initial demo. It has to be over a year something ago, and loved what was there, and have not checked it out other than in thinking about it, having talked to Kim recently this week about it. I popped into it for about 15 minutes to see what had changed, and that game seems like it went over such a massive overhaul. I was blown away from the same content that I'd already seen, but just shown and having, voice acting and different like new mechanics and just all kinds of changes to the game that I was like, I have to turn this off right now and just wait for release because and I think it's only out next month, something within the next couple of months.
It's due for release in March.
Yeah, and I was like, I can't play this until it's out because this walking simulator is what I am about. So yeah, that one's definitely like top 5 on my list somewhere.
Yeah, Kona looks great, and that actually hit my radar very recently. I had heard about it a little while back, but I mean, I live in Quebec, like in the province of Quebec. We're just swarmed with game developers that sometimes you lose track of what's going on and who's where, and it's the amount of talent here is amazing, and the ideas, and you start seeing so many of these little games, and I'm going a lot more to these festivals now that I'm seeing all these potentially very cool games and that I wouldn't have heard of otherwise, no one really hears about them. They don't get enough publicity. They're super underrated, and yeah.
And for me, it's a snow zone. I don't know how many times I can stress, I love snow zones. If you can do the crunching sound where that's the only thing you hear because everything around you is so deafened by a snowstorm, if you can get that crunching foot sound or tires, as you drive sound down, it makes or breaks it, and Kona nails it so good.
Well, it helps that we live in like 6 months of winter, so
yeah, but the snow doesn't stick here. Like I live across from Seattle, and it's just like it drops, and you have it for like a night of a few inches, and then it's kind of piddly the next day. I'm like, no, I want that 1998 snowstorm that blacked out power for 2 weeks, and
right,
yeah,
memorable. Yeah.
We don't get snow, so.
Aww.
We had snow. I think the last time we had snow was 4 years ago. We had like a light dusting recently, and of course everyone went into mass panic because they can't handle snow around here. And you listen to public radio and you hear like the local oddball like proclaiming that the snow gods are angry with us. So it's like everyone running out nude, going, "Come back, son! Hell's forgiven." This year we have got another couple of film tie-ins. I mean, obviously Telltale are taking on Guardians of the Galaxy, which I'm excited to see what they do. I've yet to play the Batman Telltale game. It's our featured game for March, because in typical Telltale fashion, they basically just given us a title screen and nothing else to go off. So
I have a minor title, and then my last one is a major title for me. But the smaller one that I'm keeping an eye on is a game called The Surge from Deck B. They're the people who made Lords of the Fallen, which was their kind of first attempt at a Dark Souls style game.
Mm-hmm. That was a PlayStation Plus game a few months ago, I think.
Yeah, post-apocalyptic world where everything is robots fighting, dudes in mech suits, but it's very much the Dark Souls inspired style of combat, which I very much enjoy. So that's another one that I'm keeping an eye on, and it's due out not too long in the future.
It's in May.
Yeah, so yet another one before the middle of the year that I may go insanely broke on. And then my last one that I wanted to bring up, which is also very top of my list, is an indie game I'm sure you guys have probably heard of called Divinity Original Sin 2. I am a very big Divinity Original Sin fan from Larian Studios. I think in the original release and then their enhanced edition that came out last November, 2 Novembers ago, sorry. I think I put in a good 300 to 400 hours in that universe from that indie game. So Divinity 2, from everything that I've seen, I stayed away from the alpha and the beta. I'm not going into the early access because I want it to be done. And it's supposedly coming out this year. Fingers crossed. Mm-hmm. But that is definitely my most anticipated indie game this year by far.
Yeah, it looks. I mean, the visuals look really nice. I haven't played Divinity. I have you played it?
No, because it's an indie game. Whenever we mention indie games, it's pretty much the case that I've never heard of them.
Have you played The Witcher 3?
No, I have not played The Witcher 3. This is the problem. I play what I play. Yeah, I mean, just obviously to wrap up, looking ahead, other exciting games coming out. We've got Sonic Mania, which finally gives us a Sonic game which looks like a Sonic game instead of trying to turn it into an RPG or a brawler or something that's not a Sonic game. It's just 2D with a little bit of 3D highlighting in there. So the closest we've had to a classic Sonic game, I think, was back with Sonic Generations. So it's nice to see Sonic Mania coming out, and obviously finally giving us the Sonic game we want. Obviously, there's a few under the radar titles coming out. We've got the release of Shenmue 3 and Siberia 3. Whether those actually happen or not still remains to be seen, but so far they are saying they are going to happen. We've got Return of Styx with Shards of Darkness. The Goblin Assassin makes his return on March 14th. We've got Shenmue Karu, a Peach Beach Splash, a game I have no idea what it's about, but it's really fun to say. We've got Micro Machines World Series, again a game in just title only. Found no screenshots of that whatsoever, but I'm hoping it's just Micro Machines on the coffee table, avoiding cereal and speedboats in the bath and all those classic elements that were in the first two. Yakuza Kiwami, which is a remake of Yakuza for the PS1 coming out, as well as a game for Kim here, being the Canadian on our team, who can obviously look forward to Old Time Hockey, which is apparently...
I have given up hockey, my friend. I have given up hockey. Hockey is against me. Montreal Canadiens have... Every time I watch them, they fail. I still love them dearly, but...
Nah, you still love the Vancouver Canucks, don't you?
No.
Oh, alright.
No.
Yeah.
Only when they make it to the playoffs and I have no one here to cheer. No one else to cheer for. Yeah.
So, this is an old school hockey game, and from what the description's been taken us in the press release notes, it's going to also be taking cues from Slapshot, which obviously makes us interested to see this, and hopefully that means it's going to be more in the league of brutal Mutant League ice hockey, which would be really awesome to see, instead of the NHL 2K games. So it'd be fun to have an arcade ice hockey game, because it's really been a while since we've had a good one. But that's it really for 2017. It's
no, you're still missing. I still have two more titles to quickly go through, and one is Ni no Kuni 2. The Revenant Kingdom, which is kind of like a studio. It is a Studio Ghibli art game. There's a remastering of the Silver Case, which is going to be released in April sometime. That one is by Suda51, I think. That's the name. I can't remember.
Yeah, is Death Stranding coming out this year? That's probably pushed to next year.
Again, we're still waiting for a release date for Death Stranding. I mean, as exciting as it is to actually play as a video game version of Guillermo del Toro, I mean, it's all very exciting, but again, I mean, should we consult the 8-ball to see when that's actually going to come out? Because no one's given us a date. No, now we brought the 8-ball, so that's not a good sign already. So,
Wow.
Well, all of these things to look forward to in E3, hopefully.
Persona 4, that's coming out this year, isn't it, too?
Is it 5?
5, yes. Persona numbered series. I know a lot of people are hyped for that one. Myself, I never played the other ones, but I have heard a lot of my friends talking about their enthusiasm for it. But
yeah, I own the third one, but we got about, I think, maybe an hour into the game and we never finished it. So it's still kind of sitting there from 4 years ago, and I haven't really touched it, which I should. So Slay, obviously, if people want to find you, where would they find you?
They can find me at YouTube/Insomnia Knights. Mm-hmm. And, the same Twitters and all that stuff is on my YouTube page as well. So if they want to stop by or write me anything.
Yeah, hopefully you can join us for something else. And that would be really great.
Well, I have played the Batman Telltale, so we'll never know.
Yes. This wraps up this episode. We'd like to thank Slay again for joining us. Thanks so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this episode, please like, share, and subscribe. Head over to our homepage, thatmomentin.com, to read our game reviews. To get gaming news and releases every single day, follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook at Game Warp Podcast. And hang out with us over at twitch.tv/Game Warp Podcast to watch our streams. And to listen to us on the go, you can find us on iTunes and Podomatic. That's it for today. Bye.
Goodbye.